thing is the most simple and it's the most obvious, which is just coloring without blending. So this is the first card. And here's the second one. And we're not going to do anything with them, but what I wanted to say is don't be afraid to color with your markers without actually blending anything. You can just solid color, but the best stamps to do that with are ones like these that have all these little multiple sections in them, because they don't need to be blended and you can just fill them in. So the best thing to do with these is just to find detailed stamps that have lots of little sections, and you don't have to blend them. So I know that kind of goes without saying, but sometimes we forget that. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I just wanted to say, don't forget that you don't always have to blend, even when you're coloring. So that's what these are, and I'm just moving on. Okay. And then we looked at these in my 3D embossing, same idea last month. Does anybody remember these from our 3D embossing class?
Yes.
That after you 3D emboss, you can also just do minimal coloring with your markers. And like on this one, I just picked out an area of the 3D embossing and just colored it in. So don't forget that even the most simple coloring can work in some areas. Like this, I just colored the balloons in, just straight without blending anything. And then I clear embossed them. And then on this one, I just did some simple like little lines to follow the lines from in the embossing. So I just don't want you to forget that just simple things like that can be very effective. But this one is something I doubt that you've seen. Here's the card that goes with it. And this does come a little bit under the blending category. Can you see the changes of color in there?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to show you how to do that. And the key to that is kind of ends up looking like watercolor, you guys. I don't know if you can kind of see it. Kind of blends pink and orange together. Can you see
Yes.
the change there?
Yes.
Super easy. I taped my markers together so I'd have the right ones to do it again. Okay. Super easy to do. And this is technically blending, but it's so easy I don't count it as in the flick marks and all that stuff. Okay. First of all, before we even get there, be sure you're using an alcohol marker or an alcohol safe ink. In the Altenew line, it's this one, the permanent black ink. When I first started, I thought, why do they have 4 different black inks? They're like, black is black. Well, no, this one will work with markers, because if you stamp it in an ink that isn't alcohol friendly, it will smear when you're trying to color it. So be sure whatever brand you're using that you have one that is safe for alcohol markers. Oh, and this reminds me, let's just say you want to get yourself this particular ink. If it's an Altenew product, I will have a page. I'll send you the link tomorrow in an email. I have an email page where you can order anything and everything I use today that's Altenew off of my blog, and you can just click on it instead of going to their website. So anyway, this is permanent black ink. Whatever brand you use, be sure you look at the description and know that it's permanent black that won't run with alcohol. Now, the other thing I would say is let it dry well, because this stuff takes longer to dry than you might think. And even with the heat gun, I've had this run before because it wasn't completely dry. So what I usually do is stamp whatever I'm going to do, then go on and do another project and then come back to it. And by then it's usually dry. So just if you have trouble with smearing, that's probably why. Either you didn't use the right ink or you didn't let it dry long enough. Okay, so to do this kind of coloring, you pick 2 colors that you think will go together, and I'm basically using pinks and oranges. The names of the ones I'm using are in the handout. Let me turn it over here. I'm doing Pink Diamond, Pinkalicious, and sun-kissed. So you just take the lightest one and just color it in the whole thing. No big deal, no anything, just plain coloring. The idea here is to get it really wet because alcohol inks are transparent. They're not opaque. So it's not the same as coloring with a marker that's completely, opaque color. So you want to get this wet. So when you put something on top of it, it's going to blend with it. But see, I'm just coloring it all plain. So now I'm going to take the darker pink. So you want two colors of your base color, a light one and a medium one. And I'm just going to fill in this bottom half, just like that, right? Then I'm going to take the orange one or yellow one, and I'm going to fill in the top half, just kind of crossing over there. Can you see that? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so then you're going to.
Yes, I do too.
Okay, then you're going to take the lightest one again, and you're just going to blend them together like this. So let's say you wanted to do like a turquoise and a purple. You do the very same thing. Let me try them. I haven't tried that color combination, but let me pull some out. Is this hydrangea? Yeah. Let's do this and see what happens. I don't know. You have to kind of experiment to get colors, but can you see how that turned into that kind of pinky orange? And you can't see the line of demarcation anywhere. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's just kind of shaded. So that's just another way of blending that isn't really what we consider our typical blending. So I don't know if these colors will work together, but this is wisteria. It's the lightest in this one purple category. So I'm going to put it on here and get it really wet. This is just regular cardstock. It's this one is 80. Okay, I like this kind of blending because I don't have to worry about flicking and I don't have to worry about the technical aspects of blending. Okay, I'm going to take my medium one, which is hydrangea, and go in here and just kind of color it up to the middle. Okay, and then I grabbed, what is this? Volcano Lake. Who knows if this is going to go or if it's going to look ugly as all get out, but let's just see. Okay, so I'm just filling this in the top. Now that looks like, oh great, half purple, half turquoise. But now I'm going to come along in here and I'm just going to take the lightest color again and go over it. Now this color combination may not be as wonderful and it may show more, but when you get the right color combinations, they really just kind of blend right in. I'm putting a lot of this on because I want it to get wet so it'll blend. So let's see what that looks like. Obviously, I'm not spending a lot of time on it. What do we think?
I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think I could have,
I like it
I
too.
could have taken the purple, the middle purple up a little bit more than I did so that the blue is more just on the end. Let's see what that does. I'm coloring outside the lines. Don't mind me. I normally wouldn't do that. I'm just trying to rush here. What do you think?
I like it.
I think it works.
Yes, I
So-
think so.
You can experiment with colors, but do you understand the process? Number one, take the lightest and color in the whole petal. Take the second lightest and color toward the base, however far up you want. Color the end with the other color, and then color the whole thing over with the lightest again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions about that, or is that pretty clear?
That's very clear.
Very clear. Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, try it. Check it out. It's really
Yeah.
pretty easy. And when you get the whole thing done, it really
Yeah, that
is
really looks
effective.
pretty.
It really looks pretty when you get it all done and you're not just staring at one petal, you know. If you did that in the purple and the turquoise, I bet you anything in the long run like this, it would look really good. So anyway, so that's what I call watercolor coloring it with alcohol markers. So it really is pretty in person. Even this one with the purple and the turquoise is quite pretty in person here. I'm going to have to try
Yeah.
to do that.
I like that too. Yeah.
I'm going to have
Good
to try it.
combination.
Okay, let me put these aside. And now the next one, you might have seen this. Jennifer McGuire did something on this. I don't know when. It was quite a long time ago. And this one is called stippling or
Oh,
dots.
that's pretty.
Now look at that.
Yeah, that's very pretty.
Now, how did I do that? Can you see all those individual little dots? You see all that?
Yes.
So all you're going to do, here's another flower. All you're going to do is take 3 colors. I've already got these 2 purples out here, so maybe I'll just go with that. And is this the next one? Ultraviolet? Yeah. Okay. So you just do dots. I'm not an artist. I've never studied art. So, but in looking at this and studying it, I found out that there is a style of art. Maybe those of you who are artists already know this, of course, but I don't. Called Pointillism, which is making really fabulous, amazing photos or like photo quality art out of just dots. But I mean, it's by hand. It is amazing. I have it on your handout that it's called Pointillism. And if you Google Pointillism, you will be amazed. So you just do dots, random dots. I mean, how hard is that? Pretty much anybody can do random dots. I'm using the small end, not the brush tip, but the small end. And you put the darker colors toward the base. And you just kind of randomize them so they don't look like a line. And then you do the middle one further up. I know this looks like, okay, she's just putting dots on there, but that's all it is. And then you take the light one and you kind of overlap the boundaries of them and you just keep making dots. And it comes out once you do the whole thing and you're careful when you do it, you know, you're not like doing something too random like I am right now because I'm rushing, but it actually looks super cool. You see that? Now that doesn't look all that hot, but when you do it like the same way, I just did it exactly the same, and you get it all together. Look how cool that looks. What do you think?
Like it.
It does look nice. So you're not going over the whole thing with a light color?
Nope.
You're just making the dots.
You're just making the dots, but you
Okay.
do overlap. Yeah. So let's say, okay,
Yes.
Let me see which one of these is the darkest again. Okay, so let's say these are the darker ones. And I'm filling in really a lot right here by the base of the petal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm putting a few out here kind of spaced further out like that.
Yep.
Then when I get the middle one, I'm going to fill in. This one looks darker, but it's not. That is so weird. Okay. I'm going to fill in and then make these pretty close together. And then when I get up to where I want it to be, I'm going to put a few just like that. And then I'm going to fill these in with the lighter one. See?
Yes.
See that?
Yeah, it's a great effect.
So they overlap, but they're not actually,
Right.
see? What do you think?
Very good.
Right.
I mean, it can't get any easier than that, right? But the total impact is pretty darn cool.
Yes.
And it looks shaded, but it's not really what we anticipate as blending, right? That's what I'm saying.
True.
There's a lot of things you can do with your markers that are not related to the traditional blending that we know about. So that's that one, Pointillism. Let me put these back on. I have the labels for these with the names on them, but I'm always too busy to put them on there. Okay. Is everybody doing okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Great. Okay, the next few are all stencil type things. And the first one is direct stenciling. We did this one, we looked at this one in the 3D. So this one, I took a stencil, I did a 3D embossing folder, and then I took the Dreamy Tiles, no, what is it? The Lacy Tile stencil, and I just used marker right straight through it onto this. No blending, no nothing, just using a marker instead of using ink. So that turned out great. And it
So
was,
you did the embossing first and then the stencil, or you
I
stencil
did.
first?
I did the embossing first and then the stencil, which was an experiment, but it worked.
Mhm.
It was the first time I'd ever done it, but I liked it. So don't be afraid to try new and different things, just go for it. And if it, I don't remember where it was in the AECP when I was in there, but I had never done cards at all until, let's see, not even quite 2 years ago. So I was a real neophyte when I started the AACP. And I remember I'm such a perfectionist. I don't like to keep anything that isn't perfect. And I remember some teacher in there said, remember, it's only a piece of paper. And
Yeah.
that really helped me, because then you can try new things. And if they don't work, you can just toss them, it's not the end of the world. So this was one of those, I wonder if that would work. And it did. So there's that. But now we're going to be looking at 3 different ways to use stencils with your markers. And these are the cards that go with them. And I did these in 3 different ways, and they're all done with markers and stencils. Now on this one, I have to see where my camera is there. And this one, I actually made my own stencil. And what I did was I used this die. The name of it's on your handout. And I ran the cover die through with masking paper. And then I put the masking paper on my card panel, and I used that as a stencil. And it worked quite well. So as you can see, it's supposed to be kind of impressionist looking, not perfect. So that technique actually worked well. With these other 2, I used actual stencils. So none of them are perfect, okay? They're kind of an impression rather than the perfect look you would get from inking the stencil, but I still rather like it. It looks kind of like watercolor. Can you see that? It's not like perfect edges, but it looks kind of cool. What do you
Yes.
guys think? Do you like that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now this one is another look altogether, the center part, and it's really kind of a different look. So I'm going to show you all 3, how to do them, and then you can decide what you like. So what I'm going to do is take this stencil, just this one stencil here, and this is the flowing drop stencil. And I'm just going to show you how these effects look a little bit different. I'm going to run a little, I don't want to use my spray temporary glue in here, so I'm going to just run a few like temporary dot type Okay. I'm going to put this on here. It doesn't matter because we're in our experimentation mode here. So the first one is just drawing straight through the stencil, right? So we're going to just take the little nib again, and we're just going to go around like that. Maybe I need to do it with a darker one. Let me pull a darker pink one. I'm trying to do it where my hand isn't in the way. It's really easy to do. And then just color it in, no biggie deal. Now, the paper I'm using, you can use UPO paper, which is what we use with alcohol ink, and which I sometimes use. Lately, because of some YouTube tutorial that I saw, I have tried this stuff. Let me show you the label. It's called Craft Plastic. It comes 12 by 12, 25 in a package. I don't remember how expensive it was, but I don't really remember it being like over the top expensive. The cool thing about this versus UPO is this. Let me show you. Let's just say I have a mistake and, oh, I got this big mistake out here. Well, on UPO, if you try to wipe that off, it's just going to smear. But guess what? On here, let me get I'll just use my microfiber here and put a little alcohol on it. On here, if you just take some plain alcohol and drop it on there, guess what? It all comes off. So
But is it a plastic paper? Is it plastic?
Yes,
not
it's
paper?
like a plastic paper.
Okay.
The UPO is also, but for some reason, the UPO, you can't fix mistakes like that. So because you may not always be so neat, and I might not always be so neat, I have started using this. And then if it gets outside of your line or something, you can actually take a Q-tip with alcohol and wipe it right off, which is, that works for me. Let's see how this, after it sits for a while, how this is looking. What do you think?
Very nice.
That looks good, don't you think?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see you guys try that. Okay, so this is just coloring straight through. And it looks like that. I mean, plain, right? But what happens if we color it? Let me color a little bit more. And I'll show you what I did on the pink flower, where I made the stencil myself out of masking paper. Okay. I hear somebody having something in the background. All right. Now, remember, this goes without being said, I think, that I am not taking my time to show you this. It's not like, what's the right word? This is the rush job, me showing you instead of taking my time with it. But what I did was I colored it in just like that. I took some 99% alcohol in a spray bottle. Now, if you've never worked with alcohol ink before, I don't have a problem with it if I'm just working with it without spraying. But if you spray alcohol, you need to be sure that, now I have we're all familiar with masks these days,
Right.
but this is one of the medical rated ones. It's a good mask. I have a good mask. I have a fan on. You don't want to inhale alcohol. So you just want to be taking precautions and be aware of it. I don't think I really need to put this on. I'm just going to hold it over my nose here. Okay, hold this with my elbow. And I'm just going to spray like that. And then I'm going to let it dry for a minute. I might even use a heat tool on it just to I wouldn't normally, but with us here, I'm trying to do it quickly. Okay, so you can see how that turned out modeled. This is the same thing that I did with this flower. I just left the stencil on there and I sprayed it with a little alcohol. The alcohol spray reacts with the ink and it makes it kind of a mottled, impressionist looking kind of look. Do you see that? So, and if you take your time with it more, it's not quite as, what's the right word? Messy, I guess. But anyway, that's what spraying it on there does. Now, the next one, I'm going to take the same piece of paper, put this back on. I still have the sticky on it. And we're going to color it again. Again, I'm not carefully coloring. Somebody has something going on in the background again. Okay. So now this one is what I did with this one. So what I did was I took one of these applicators with the felt pads, not with the pads you would use for inking, but they sell the felt pads separately. Here's a package of them right here. They're Tim Holtz alcohol ink applicator felt, and they come in a package just like that. So I have a little blue on here from yesterday, but it'll be okay. What you're going to do is you're going to put some alcohol. Now I use 99% alcohol. Anything above 90 is okay. You don't want to use 70 because 70 will not work the same. So you just put a little bit on here like that. It doesn't take much. And then you just pounce it. Like that. Now, can you see that?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's cool.
Okay, and then I would normally let it dry, but you can see how that looks, the differences.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one, and the one that I did with this, which looks very subtle, is that I combined some inks. And the way I did that, I'm not going to spray anymore, so I'm going to put my mask away. The way I did that was to take, let's do the blue and turquoise again. By the way, this is freezer paper. So somebody on their YouTube said, "Hey, you know, you can use freezer paper instead of a craft mat, and you know what? It's super cheap, and you get to just throw it away." I'm like, if I don't have to wash it, I'm happy with that. So, okay. So you put your alcohol ink out here. And again, normally I would change my pad, but I'm not going to this time. I'm just going to show it to you. I'm going to add a little bit more alcohol. And we're going to do the pouncing thing, but instead of putting the alcohol ink on through the stencil first, we're going to, or you can use blending solution. I'm just using plain alcohol today. You just pick this up from here, all mixed up, and then you stamp it.
Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Really cool.
What a great idea.
So now you could do that with liquid alcohol too, right? But you don't have to have both. If you're not big into doing alcohol ink, you can do it with your markers just like that. And voila.
Oh, so pretty.
So it looks very watercolory.
Yeah.
Now, what I did on this other one was that I took a, where did it go? I had it out here. Here it is. I took a fine liner just because I liked that look, and I just went along. This is a 05.
Does it work?
And I
No.
just kind of outlined the,
Not on the computer.
Huh?
Not on the computer.
No, but it'll work on your iPad.
I'm on the computer and phone.
Huh?
I'm using the phone and my computer.
Okay, so it works on your phone.
okay, this is, I'm doing this really fast, but you can see if you outline them, it gives you a different look too. Kind of like a hand-drawn look. So, but it ends up looking very, very like watercolor. Oh, somebody's waiting to come in. I'm sorry, Mary. Okay. So you've got 3 looks here. You've got this one, which is a little bit more bold, where I sprayed the alcohol onto it. You have this one where I did the marker first through the stencil, and then I pounced it with just plain alcohol. And then you have this one where you put the alcohol ink onto the applicator, and then you pounce the whole stencil. So which one do you guys like best?
You know, what's interesting about that second one there is that even though you didn't draw lines around that one,
Uh-huh.
now that it's drying and so forth, it looks like you did draw lines
It
around
does, doesn't it? It kind of
Yeah.
went right to the edge.
Uh-huh. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
It did. So play. That's what I want to tell you with this. Play. Stencils, we all have some kind of stencils. And you can play with all kinds of colors. You can play with all kinds of things. Just remember, I mean, I just have my regular alcohol in a spray bottle. I have a purple tape around here because my water spray bottle also looks like this, and I don't want to confuse the two. So, but just remember, if you spray, particularly if you spray, or if you're very sensitive, you should wear a mask anyway. But if you spray, you definitely should protect yourself. But it's not a big deal. Just be aware of that. So anyway, what do you think? Anybody else make a comment while I'm cleaning this up?
I like the effect that it gives.
Which one do you like the best?
I think I like the one without the black outline.
Okay.
Like,
I like the last one you did the best, but
Yes,
they're all
Really
pretty cool.
soft and pastel
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah. the watercolor look.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting. I'm going to show you a couple other ways to make things that look like watercolors with alcohol ink. So it's not just that. So let's move on. I don't know how many of you saw this this card earlier. I had it on Instagram for a while, and it's like, what did you do with this card? Can you see all those crazy things in it? All these little shapes and stuff?
Yep.
This is called mark making. And this was a total, I was just messing around. This is not my attempt to be all perfect on this either. But what I found out, and I have this right down here, is that you can make, like if you're doing a floral, or if you want to do something like this, which is where I just colored straight through the stencil, and then I decided it was too plain looking, and I decided to try to make these marks on it. So what you can do is you can either use a lighter color than what your color is in the same color wave, or you can use your blender pen. Here's my blender pen. Now, the colorless blender doesn't really blend. Isn't that interesting? It's not for blending. It's for erasing mistakes. You can push ink with it. It doesn't really take it off. It's just a different creature altogether. But one of the things you can do with the blender is you can do this making marks business. So what you can do is take your little end here, and you can actually draw in this is going to take me a minute because I made these last night. If it was wet, it would react faster. But you can make marks in your ink to make a
Now, is that your Yupo or the craft plastic?
This is the craft plastic.
I'm really curious about this craft plastic. I never heard of it.
I hadn't either. I saw it on somebody's YouTube. It wasn't my brilliant idea. I'm a YouTube aficionado too. And what you have to understand about alcohol ink is that when you, like if I put it on the edge here, it's going to start to react with the alcohol underneath it, and it's going to push the alcohol away. So when I made these lines here, these stripes, can you see how it just kind of pushed the alcohol to either side of the stripe so it
Yep.
shows up? So, I could make a plaid here if I wanted to. So think about that. You could make some flowers or some other geometric things and make these marks in it, which is an art thing, but boy, it's pretty cool.
Mhm.
So you can make, let me wipe off my color here. Wipe off the blue. That's how you get it off of there. You just keep rubbing until it comes off clear again. Okay, so how about if I do some circles on this? Now I know most of us are like not used to thinking of this kind of pattern or design, but again, creativity, everybody. Think ways you could use this. What could you use it in? You could use it in a kid's card. You could use it for a lot of different things. You just have to open your mind. Now, see, that's not very light right now, but if you give it a minute to react, it's going to turn lighter. What other things did I put in this over here when I was playing? Oh, I just did the dots thing again. I just went that one. I think I'm going to use my my brush tip. Look at how that's reacting. Can you see that? Okay, you see how that made like little polka dots? I can tell we're all excited about this, huh? But still, think creativity. You can make wavy lines. So where could you use something like this? What do you think?
Well, if you had a solid stamp image and you stamped it in one color, or you colored it with an alcohol marker, then you can add a design.
Right. How about if you were doing some leaves?
Oh,
You
yeah.
had a solid stamp for a leaf with nothing in it, and you decided, now I'm going to take a my yellow marker here and do this in the green and see what happens. And you decided in the middle of your leaf that you make the little
Veins.
veins in the leaf, right? I just did it in yellow for fun. As it sits, it will get darker or lighter, I guess the case may be. Let's do it with the blender again.
The center of flowers would be pretty. Pull up some of the ink.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or what about
highlight on a balloon?
oh yes, a highlight on a balloon would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You could do a little bit of a like that and let it lighten and have the highlight on the balloon. So this is called making marks. mark making. And I found out that it's a big deal in art. I mean, real artists do this kind of stuff.
Oh.
For me, but still, you know, when I was experimenting, this is what I did with it, and it actually turned out looking pretty good. It's pretty cool.
It does. That card looks great.
Yeah, it's not what I would normally do, but you know, that's
Mhm.
what comes from just experimenting. So that's called mark making. So it's on your brochure. You can check it out yourself and see what you want to do with it just for fun. I'm trying to clean this off here before I put it away. Come on, get the pink out. Okay. So the next one is very cool too. Now, I think I picked too dark a colors for this, but can you see that?
Mm.
Okay, can you see the different in the greens? How it's
Yes.
all different colors, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And this was done with alcohol markers. So what I did was I've got this one ready because I didn't want to take the time to do it from beginning. So what I did on this card was I put alcohol markers down like this in a diagonal pattern. And I was more selective because I kind of had an idea what stamps I was going to use. So I kind of put the green where I wanted the green. You know what I mean? Like I selectively, oh, I think I'll put a flower over here. So I made it purples. And I think I'll make the green leaves come down over here. So I made it green, right? Not exacting, just kind of areas of the card, right? And
Yes.
and this is regular cardstock. This is not Yupo because we're not reacting with the alcohol. It's just regular cardstock. For my example, I just put 3 colors out there. Then what you do is you pick a solid stamp. These are solid stamps, all of these. And can you see the flower in there?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, what I did was I stamped a solid flower and then I clear embossed it. So you can barely see it on top of the alcohol ink there, but I clear embossed it. So now what we're going to do, it's kind of like what we used to do with crayons when we were kids. Remember when, or maybe you're not old enough, we used to put all kinds of colored crayons all over and then color it with black crayon and then scrape out a design. Do you remember doing
Yes. I remember that. I'm old enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yep, me too.
Me too. I remember that.
So we're going to take black ink. And you know what? I don't even know if I'm going to blend it out of time wise. I think I'm just going to try to see if it works, if I'm just using my, because I don't want to take the time to blend it carefully. But you put black ink all over it. Okay. And then you take, let me get a paper towel here. You take a cloth or a paper towel or whatever, and you wipe the ink off of the clear embossing.
That's really cool.
You see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
So this is just, I mean, I just threw the example out there. It's not, you know, wonderful colors or anything necessarily, but it's called, what is it called? Trapped clear embossing. Trapped clear embossing. So it's like a resist where the clear embossing resists the ink, but you've got that alcohol marker trapped below it. So
And a lot to do
That
with
was
just
hard
regular
stuff.
markers though, right?
you could also what?
A lot of this you could use with just regular markers, right?
You mean like watercolor markers? Like zigs or something like that?
Yeah, or Tombow or
Yeah, I think you could do this one particularly like that. Yeah. So anyway,
Sandy,
yes.
there's a question about can the colorless blender be refilled?
I don't know the official answer, but I don't think so because
And I just went on.
I couldn't find one.
Altenew's-
So I don't know if there isn't one or if I couldn't just find it, I bought a new one. What about you? Do you know?
I think that's the answer. I'm looking on Altenew's page and under refills, and there's nothing specific for just that colorless blender. So I think you can buy the colorless blender by itself. So I think
Right.
that's your answer. I don't think it's refillable.
I don't think so either. That was
You're correct.
my, what's the right word?
It is not.
I thought too. So I bought a separate one. However, I did read that somebody refilled their old one with regular alcohol
Alcohol.
and had regular alcohol in kind of a blender, in kind of a marker format. So, you know, I might try that when mine gets run out and see if that works. But
The
anyway,
Copic-
There's
the
the
Copic has a
so-called
colorless blender refill.
there's the so-called blending solution, right? So is that not the one that they use for blending?
no, I do not think it's a blending solution in there, because
Oh,
that's
okay.
different. When you use like Tim Holtz blending solution, it's meant to blend colors together, but it's a misnomer on the blending marker. It isn't
Oh, okay.
meant for blending, and
That's good to know.
neither is the why am I blanking out on the big alcohol marker company?
Copic has,
Copics. Yeah.
Copic does
Apparently
have a
theirs isn't
blender
meant for that
with
either, because
refill.
I've watched a lot of it. Does get refilled, but it isn't meant for blending, because I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on them, and I don't have them, but that's what I found out in that too. But anyway, so with this, you can see how I was able to do different greens, which I think looks really cool.
It is pretty.
To do this, and it is black inked, just like what I just did, although I blended it with a brush for making it look better. But you get the idea.
Yeah, that is so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
You know, you could do a rainbow, or you could do pretty much anything you wanted. So that's what that one is. Okay, this next one I'm not going to demonstrate because it just is what it is. But you can color glitter cardstock with your alcohol markers.
Yeah.
So what I did was I took the silver cardstock and I used a blue marker and I just colored it to make blue cardstock. So I didn't know you could do that, but I found out from studying it, you can do that. So just an idea for you to lock away in your brain. If I think if you're going to use massive amounts of blue glitter cardstock, you should buy blue glitter cardstock. But if you just want something little and it's like a solution, like a substitute for having the colored cardstock or colored glitter cardstock, you don't want to buy a whole bunch when you just want one little piece, then you can't color it with your alcohol markers.
Do you have to be careful with it, like the pressure, so that you aren't
Yeah,
tearing
I did
the
it
nib?
really light. I did it really light with the brush nib. I didn't notice it doing any damage to it. I did watch a few videos on it to make sure, and it worked. But like I said, I wouldn't do a massive amount. But
Right.
I do think in a pinch, like if you wanted it for a sentiment or something like that, and you didn't have a color that you wanted, then go for it. You can do it. Okay, this one is one of my absolute favorites. I have to admit. Okay, what did I do to make this card? Anybody have any guesses?
No.
Okay, what I did is this is coloring with your alcohol markers on top of white heat embossing.
Oh,
Okay, so I took this stamp and I heat embossed it with white embossing powder, and then I just colored on top of it.
That's really cool.
It's
Yes,
very
I
cool.
like that.
I was so in love with it when I discovered it. Now I made, for example, I did a stamp that was a lot bigger. So let's check it out.
Is that just regular black cardstock?
Yep.
Okay.
But you could use any color cardstock behind it.
Yep.
Look at this. Look at how this is coloring. I'm going to use the brush tip because this is so big. And it turns out looking so cool because there's a little outline kind of behind it with the white still, but you can't really tell what it is. It's just very cool. And you can also, if you want to, on this one, I went around with a light pink, and then when it dried, I went around with it with a darker pink, just parts of it. So it looked kind of textured with the two colors of pink. But
I bet
anyway, look
you
at
could
how-
stipple on that too.
How long did you leave it to dry, Sandy?
when? Paula?
How long did you leave it? How long did you leave it to dry?
Oh, couple minutes.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, it dries really fast because it's alcohol. So look at how cool this looks on a black background. But you could use any color background. I
You've
was
got
thinking, you know,
so
you could
many
do-
great ideas.
Oh.
Yes.
I was thinking that, well, that's why it takes me a month, because it takes me a long time to get all this stuff researched and experimented and put together. I was thinking, I bet you could do this on vellum too. I bet you could white emboss something on vellum. I'm going to have to try that. And then color it on vellum and put it in front of some other cardstock.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Wouldn't that be pretty? I haven't tried that. But anyway,
Or-
look how cool this looks.
Hmm.
And this is just one color. You could take another color in here and kind of, you know, like I did on the other one, put light and then dark. This looks kind of plain because it's bigger. I like the little fine one of this. But once again, you can play, you know, you don't have to have it all one way, you know, like if I wanted to say, okay, what would happen if I took a lighter pink and went over the darker pink? Well, then we got to kind of have that mark making thing going on. What if I kind of just went from the center and kind of went out like that with the light versus the dark? I don't know.
I like it.
I might
Give it
like it, I might hate it, but you know, you don't know till you do it, right? So
Right. Gives it more texture.
yeah, don't be afraid to just try. Don't be afraid to experiment. Like I said, creativity is the highest form of learning. It really is. So look at that. Look at that. Looks better, doesn't it?
Yes, it
Except
does.
it took too much off up there. So now I'm going to go back in with this.
Now, do you have to dry that? Would it wipe off if you, Like-
This does not wipe off. As
okay,
soon as it's dry, it's dry.
okay.
How cool is that? Isn't that cool? See, I get excited about this kind of stuff. It's like, whoa, I never knew you could do that. That looks pretty,
It does look pretty.
right? So white emboss. So we do green down here if I was doing this. And I used two colors of green on these too. I did a light green, and then I kind of went along and just sporadically put a dark green so it would look kind of natural instead of just one color for the whole stem. But look how pretty that turned out. Okay, so does everybody understand how to do that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not that complicated, but I know I throw a lot at you, but hopefully you will go along and take some things with you. Okay, coloring washi tape. You wouldn't know that's washi tape, would you?
Nope.
Nope. Well, it is. It's this washi tape. And
Is that Altenew washi tape?
uh-huh. And the cool thing about this washi tape is that it has shading in it already. It has this shading in all of these. It's kind of like shaded. So here, where it's darker and you can see the texture in it, that's already in the washi tape. So you don't have to worry about blending or anything. It's just all there. So, and all you do is color, plain color, no fancy anything. You just take your marker. Now, you know, you could do this on any washi tape you've got at home. It doesn't have to be Altenew. But just to show you, this works beautifully. Just like that.
That you couldn't do with just any marker.
No, alcohol. Alcohol
Yes.
markers. But you can use whatever you have at home in terms of washi tape that has this kind of a coloring look outline. You know, you can do whatever you want. If I color a little bit of this in there, and it does stay wet a little bit, so you can take this and kind of faux blend it together, just color on top of each other. Voila. And this is how it turns out. What do you think?
Very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, love it.
And quick, right? If you need a quick card, think about that. How long would it take you to color this whole thing and do a sentiment? Not very long. And it looks so pretty in person. I mean, it really looks pretty. I don't know how to show it to you effectively, but this is so soft and pastel-y and just, it's just really pretty. So what do you think about that idea?
I really like that washi paper too. Or
Yeah.
tape.
Yeah.
So I've had this washi tape probably for a year and I haven't done anything with it. So now I have something I can really do with it and make a few cards. Okay, are we all hanging in there okay?
Yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
we're moving right along. We may not get to our card again, darn. I keep trying, but you know, I keep coming up with all these ideas. Okay, so this one is acetate stained glass. Now, if you can look on this, it's got acetate. I don't know if you can see it shiny. Can you see the shininess?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's called stained glass because you're actually coloring on the acetate. So what you're doing is, I already did this one. You take a cover die and you cut it out of your cardstock and then you put a piece of acetate on the back. See that?
Yes.
And then what you do is you color the back. So if I want to take like my frayed leaf and my forest glades over here, and I color on the back like this. And on this one, you don't have to be very careful because there's white outlines around all of it. So you just kind of color it like that. And maybe I want to put some forest glade toward the bottom, make it a little darker toward the bottom. I don't know. We'll see how this looks on the other side. I might blend the whole thing out. But I'm just doing it quick. Yeah, I'll just do the whole thing. There we go. Okay. Now, wait a minute. I got to put a little darker, and then I'm going to put it on white so you can see it.
I love those two Altenew greens.
I do too. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very pretty.
Okay, so it looks kind of like stained glass because it's on acetate, but you color on the back of it, so it's just super easy. So that's what I did on this.
Nice.
I really like those leaves.
Yes.
I think I'm going to finish that and make it a card. Yeah, I like that. And of course, you don't have to use white cardstock either. You could use colored cardstock or something. But anyway, so that's called stained glass. What do you think of that?
I
Love
like
it.
that.
You like it?
Yes.
See how many ways you can use your markers and you don't have to blend them?
Yep.
It's awesome because they're so intimidating with the blending.
Aren't they? See, that's the
Yeah.
that's why I started looking into this stuff because I was major intimidated. Okay, this is a card we did in June together and I just saved it for this. This is, and most of you already know about this, is that you can do it on vellum, white emboss, any kind of heat embossing. You do on vellum like this. And then you just color on the back, just like the stained glass, same thing. You color inside the lines on the stained glass. I mean, just like we just did, only it's on vellum instead. like that.
Very pretty.
So it ends up when it's all together looking like that. So it's a really easy way to make a very soft looking background that's super easy because you're not even coloring on the front, you're coloring on the back in between the lines. So it goes really fast and it turns out looking really pretty. I don't know how well you can see that. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I wonder what it would look like doing a mixture of that watercoloring technique you did way back at the beginning, and that would probably be kind of cool.
I don't know. Let's try it on one of these and see what happens. Okay, let me find the blenders that or the markers that I used. Let's see, or at least a facsimile of. Find the right ones. Here's wisteria and hydrangea again. Where'd my hydrangea? There we go. And there's a blue one. So let's try that. Okay, let's see what happens. See, this is the cool part. This is where you experiment. You say, just like that. I wonder if I combine this with this, if it would work. Well, maybe it'll look terrible, but you know what? You never know till you try, do you?
Right.
The only hesitancy I have about this
is
that the paper is non-absorbent.
Right.
So before in cardstock, the alcohol sinks into the paper, but you know what? You never know. So let's just give it a try. I'm going to do really light here. Strokes, not heavy duty coloring. Let's try the blue. And then let's try the lightest lavender again. See, I don't know if it's going to blend well because it's on tape, but you never know. Let's just finish it up and see what the other side looks like, right? Because it's the other side we're going to be looking at, not this side. Let's see.
I think it looks fine.
Yeah,
That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
it does.
Much better than I thought it was going to look. Good idea. See? Now you
There we
need to make
go.
a card like that and send it to me so I can see it.
Okay. I'll do it.
I'm serious. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will. Okay.
Cool. I would never have tried that. See what I mean? Creativity, the highest level of learning. It's true. Okay, let's see here. Oh, this is another watercolor one. You guys are going to like this. Trouble is you can't do it with Altenew stuff, but hey, you know, I mean, it is what it is. Okay, check this out. Okay. How did I do that? It looks like watercolor, doesn't it? What do you think? Anybody got an idea?
No.
Okay, I did it just like we do with watercolor markers, how you can put a stamp in a stamping platform and you can actually watercolor right on the stamp. I mean, you can use marker right on the stamp and then stamp it, right? Spray it with water and stamp it, and it looks like watercolory. Well, you can do the same thing with alcohol markers, but you can't do it on clear stamps. You have to do it on
Rubber.
Okay. So a lot of us, I don't know about you now, I started card making late in the game. So there weren't even a whole lot of rubber stamps out. But so I actually bought this one to try this technique. But I know people who have been scrapbooking for a long time and card making for a long time have a lot of rubber stamps sitting around. And all you do is you just take your markers. I'm not going to actually do it because I don't want to mess this stamp up, but you just paint on the stamp. So I took like buttercream, and this isn't buttercream, but you know what I mean. I colored all around here with buttercream. And then I took a little darker gold and I colored in from the center out with a little darker gold. And then I did this with darker gold and put some dots in there. and then I did the stem, you know, I just colored the whole thing. And then be sure you wear your mask. You spray it with alcohol, just like you would spray it with water if you did it with regular like zigs or something, right? Spray it with alcohol, stamp it, and it ends up looking like a watercolor impression, which I think is so pretty. It's just soft and it's not distinct, but that's okay because it's kind of impressionist. What do you think?
Very nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Word.
So don't try it with your alcohol, does not mix with clear stamps. But if you do have rubber stamps hanging out, then you can do that. Now, I just happen to have ribbon that matched, right? Wrong. No. What I did was I colored my ribbon. Guess what? You can take satin ribbon like this and you can color it to match whatever you're going to do. I'm going to do it really fast here, but guess what? Satin ribbon takes alcohol ink really well. And if you take your time doing it, you can make it look really even when it dries. Oh, somebody just came in. Well, I'm not going to take all the time in the world to do it, but you can see that. You can actually color ribbon to match whatever you're doing.
But another great idea.
So it works terrific. And if you take your time, it looks better than this. But now as it's beginning to dry, you can see it looks pretty even. And it's great. It matches. You can custom make them to your cards. Cool, huh?
Yeah.
Okie dokie, moving right along. Does anybody have any questions? Have I missed any questions that were on chat or something? And Penny didn't say so. I'm assuming not, but I just want to make sure.
You said this, we can rewatch this again because I haven't been taking notes and I really should have.
Yeah.
There's so many great ideas. I've been too busy
It's
doing
information
them all.
overload. You think it's information overload? You just can't remember it from one time through?
Sandy?
Boy, you know what? If you could, I would be so impressed. No, this isn't meant to be a one-time through deal. This isn't meant to be the introduction, and then you've got your written materials, and you can watch it on my YouTube channel as many times as you want. And I'm going to be making some of these cards in individual YouTube tutorials too.
Go ahead, Danny. You'll watch out.
Okay?
So I don't know if you need a time check or not, but you've got about 35 minutes till the 2-hour mark.
I know I'm rushing along, but you know, it is.
Well, you didn't ask me if you wanted that, so I don't know. Maybe you
Yes,
don't want
Penny,
that.
I appreciate it super
Okay.
a lot, but I do appreciate it. I just feel frustrated with myself that I always do too much, I guess. Anyway, guess what this is? Now you can see I 3D embossed it. This I made with smooshing. I'm not going to demonstrate. Do you guys know what smooshing is with your regular inks?
Oh, yes.
You know, you put your ink down on your work surface, you spray it, and then you put your card down and just kind of pick it up and watch the ink kind of spread around. That's what I did, but I did it with alcohol markers, just like I put it down on the freezer paper earlier. And then, oh my, what happened to my camera? Uh-oh.
Oh,
That's all right.
something froze.
Just give it a minute. Maybe it'll come back.
Sorry for those of you watching this recording. I forgot to turn it back on. Okay. Anyway, it ends up looking really cool. I really like this effect, and I would like, and it's pretty in other. I've done it in blue and purple, And it looks really, really cool. And it's super easy. You see how fast I did that. Here's the
I
one I
think
just
that's
did.
my
It's
favorite.
already dry. See that?
I love it.
Yeah, and I just did it with a round brush like that with some 99% alcohol. Okay. Now
That's
this
great.
one,
That is so cool.
yeah,
You
yes.
said that you said that you use the plastic card for that. Is it possible also for photo paper since it is also glossy?
Oh yes, I think you can use it on glossy paper. I don't know that it blends as well, but I think you can
Okay.
do it. You think you can do it. This is, you see this a lot in watercolor. See this, the drippy thing going on?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So all I did was, same thing with the brush, right? Let me put some more alcohol in my little container here.
And Sandy, that paper that you're using is what kind of paper?
It's called,
Okay, the craft plastic. Okay.
okay. So I got it, somebody had it on their YouTube thing and showed you could erase off of it, and that sold me. It comes in 12 by 12 sheets. So, and there's 25 in a thing. So I still have a ton of it. And I liked being able to erase and not feel like, and even if you did a lot of alcohol ink in a thing and you just didn't like it, you can start all over. You don't have to throw it away. Okay, so I started out like this. Alcohol inks at the top, right?
Mhm.
Then
Right.
I stand it up like this on a piece of paper towel. And all I did was take a dropper like this, take some alcohol, and then go along the top like this and release the alcohol so it just runs down. And I have paper towels underneath it. Now this won't do it quite as fast because this ink was dry already, but I'll show you how it turns out already. I'm just putting alcohol at the very top and I'm holding it up straight on some paper towels. Okay, so you see that, how it started already?
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah.
That
So that's how you do that. All right, we're almost done. This one is the same way that we did. Remember when we did the stencil earlier and I took the applicator like this and I put the ink down on the freezer paper? And then I put alcohol on this. It was the last stencil that you guys liked that was kind of soft.
Yes.
Did the exact same thing with this, but what I did was I rubbed it. I took my piece of plastic and I just did this to it, straight down like this, and it makes these subtle stripes. So I made it just pattern like that. And that's what's on the back of this card. See if you can see the stripes in it. I don't know. Can you see those subtle stripes in the background?
Yes.
That's how
Go
I
to
did
the
it.
left.
What?
Pull it
There you go.
left. Yeah. Very
Oh.
pretty.
So that's how I did that. You can make it more bold too, but that's how I did it. I put the ink on my surface, just rubbed it on different colors, put the alcohol on the applicator and picked up that color off of there and then just did stripes like that. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. I'm not going to do this, but you can make just like a regular alcohol ink background. Just like you would with alcohol ink. Penny is an expert in alcohol ink, so I don't pretend to be, but you can actually put your markers out onto a piece of Yupo or the plastic, add a bunch of alcohol to it and kind of wave it around like that so it all flows across the paper, just like you would regular alcohol, liquid alcohol.
That's really pretty.
So
That's what
that.
I'm doing with this one.
I wanted to show you this one so bad. Check out this flower, people.
Oh, cool.
Do you know how easy this is to do? It's so easy. All you do is now, if you saw that, you'd think that they blew it out with one of these deals, like one of this. Like you put alcohol in there and then you blow it like that. Yeah. Well, guess what? I'm not very talented at that. So I thought there must be another way because mine starts going all different directions unknown. So what I found was that if you take your paper, let me find a blank piece here, and you put a dot on it in the middle like this. Just a dot with your marker like that. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Then I take my little thing like this, my little dropper. I need more alcohol out here. And you put just one little drop of alcohol, one drop in the middle. Then you take a paintbrush and you draw it out. In different directions.
Honey, the iPad is going down. I don't know where the charger is. Please.
We have 5 minutes.
Thank you
left.
very much.
We're just about done. 5 minutes left. So can you see that?
Nice. Yes.
So
Yes.
then what you do is you put the dot back, you put another dot right in the center again. Like that. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Then you take your brush and your alcohol and you just draw it out with a brush like that. Just like kind of spidery. But when you do different layers and you do different colors on top of each other, that's just the base layer. But can you see how I did that?
Yes.
And when you do it on top, you can do it with different colors. And it looks really cool. So this is the one that I made for the card. And it's really cool. It's really fun to do. And I used the smaller brush for that, this size. And I think we have one more. One more. This is not my most favorite card of all the world, but do you see those little flowers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or berries or
Berries.
whatever?
Berries. Uh-huh.
To do that, and they're supposed to look like little mini rosettes, but I need some practice before I can call them that. But you do a circle the same way with a dark color. I'm going to try to do it big because so you guys can see it. Okay, so you do it with your bullet tip like that. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right. Then you take either your blender tip or a lighter of the same color. So I'm going to take a lighter pink. And you just do I wish I could do this on camera. You do one of those little spiral things, starting from the center and spiraling out with the lighter color or with the blender tip. Now, let's see if you can see what that did to it. If I hold it up, can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Can you see how it's like a little rosette kind of looking thing?
Yes.
It actually looks really pretty in person. And the more you play with it, the more you get it to look like an actual little rose. It's really pretty cool. I saw it on this lady's website and I have been playing with it. And I just did it again. I can't tell where the camera exactly is. Can you see that?
We can see it.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I just did it to make it look like berries on that. But can you see this is the last thing, people. Can you see the little pearls on there?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
How
Uh-huh.
they match the ink?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, last thing. Here's what I did. White pearls on a piece of double-sided, not double-sided removable tape, not double-sided permanent tape. Okay, guess what? you can take your markers and make your own embellishments by coloring them with your alcohol markers. Believe it or not, it really works. You can color whatever color to match your card you want to have it match. And I love it because you only have to buy white pearls and you're done. Wait a minute, let me try one more color just to do it to it. I'm doing 3 different colors, pink, purple, and red.
Ooh.
You see that?
Yes.
So just buy yourself some white pearls and then you can just color them with your alcohol markers and make your own embellishments that match your card exactly, which is really fun to do it where you don't have to try to find the exact right color. And they works with pastels or dark colors or whatever you want to do. And we didn't get to our cardigan, you guys, but 25 methods later, what do you think?
Great.
Cards.
Great class.
Great ideas.
Oh,
I
yay,
love
you made the card,
really?
Marie. Great.
Lots of amazing ideas, Sandy.
Can you see
Thank
it?
you. I had fun researching this, and I hope you had fun, just checking it out and absorbing it and, figuring out how you could apply these things. I really want you to send me cards because when you get them done,
We need
I
your
really
address.
do. What?
We need your address.
Oh, it might just not cards, but email me pictures.
Sure.
All
No, you don't
right.
need to be sending me cards.
That's right.
I'm going to do some of these on my YouTube channel when I get to it. My husband and I are actually going away for 2-3 days this week. So
Have fun.
I will email you tomorrow about the link for the video, etc. And if you want to sign up for the color theory class next time, email me. I hope you'll come. I think we're going to have fun. We're going to make a color wheel. We're going to talk about all different colors, and I'm going to show you some online sites that will really help you with figuring out some different colors for your cards than maybe what you're used to. We always just fall into the same color schemes because they work, but there's some pretty amazing combinations out there that you can never think of, and there's some great sites so you don't have to think of them yourself. So if you're interested in that, it's September 26th, I think.
September
Okay.
26th.
So I'm going to stick up another poll, which, by the way, is completely anonymous, but I just want your feedback before we all go. But I just want to thank you for coming and sharing this time with me. It's just such a blessing to see you all, and I'm just so grateful that you would come and share this time. I really am. It's a blessing.
Thank you.
Well, thank
Well,
you.
Been
That's a great
awesome.
idea.
Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome.
I look forward to this every month.
Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna try to put up another poll if I can find it. Hold on here. There it is. And you can answer that before you go, and I really appreciate it. It's all anonymous. Don't worry. You can say it's horrible and I won't know it was you. So I'm going to
Thank
put up
you.
alcohol markers. Thank you guys for sharing your Sunday.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
great
you,
trip.
Sandy.
Next
Thank
time.
you,
Bye.
Sandy.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Can't wait to try it all.
Send them to me.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know how to get
I don't want to go.
Hey, that's okay.
Thank you so much, Sandy. I learned so much, and
Oh, you're welcome,
It
honey.
really does inspires me, and I will try them all.
Thank you.
And looking
Show me-
forward for more.
Show me, Anne, when you get it done.
I actually work in a rubber stamp store.
Oh, cool.
Yes,
I wanna see
and
that.
I will apply all of this because I'm so lacking when it comes to when they ask me information of different things like this, especially the color blending that you're going to do. I'm going to watch that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm anxious.
Very,
to see that.
very fantastic how you teach. Awesome.
you,
Thank
sweetie.
you.
Have a great day, you guys.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a fun trip.
Thank you.
Hardcore people are just staying here.
This could-
Bye, Sandy. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
sweetie. Thank you so much for coming.
Sandy.
Yes. Now I see you, Danielle. Hi and bye.
Hi, Stevie.
I hope you had a good time, honey.
I did actually the card from the
Oh, that's so
PDF.
cool. That's
I'll
pretty.
post it in the
You can
Altenew
see
group.
it.
I love that. I love that. What a
Thank
great job. Thank you, honey.
Thanks. I have fun. Thank you so much.
Good. You're welcome so much.